The cinema was dark, almost silent, except for the soft, steady hum of the projector. The film we were watching was a romantic one, all about glowing eyes and stolen glances. But for me, the real story wasn't playing out on the screen. It was sitting right beside me. Her name was Elena. She had insisted we come to this indie film festival, claiming it was good for our cultural expansion. I knew what she really meant though. She was a secret romantic, a lover of love stories who would never admit it. I had to smile every time she tried to sound casual, hiding the way her heart pulls through her words. We sat closer than friends usually did. Our elbows kept brushing on the shared armrest, and each time, a little jolt of electricity danced right through me. The soft, shifting light from the screen reflected in her brown eyes, and I caught myself watching her far more than the movie. I studied the curve of her smile, the way a stray piece of hair fell across her cheek, and how she'd bite her lip when a scene got particularly emotional. It was a private screening of the most beautiful film I'd ever seen, and the only audience member was me. On screen, the film's main couple leaned in for their very first kiss. The entire theater fell into that familiar, sacred silence that held breath right before two people connect. In that quiet moment, I heard Elena exhale softly beside me. Her lips parted just a little, and I knew she was thinking about us. About the unspoken thing that had been growing between us for months, a tension as thick and real as the plot unfolding on screen. I wanted to look away, to pretend I didn't notice, but I couldn't. My gaze was fixed on her. The characters on the screen finally kissed, a moment of cinematic perfection. And yet, the real magic, the real heart-stopping moment, was happening in the narrow space between our seats. "I've seen this scene 100 times, she whispered, her voice barely a murmur, but it cut through the silence and went straight to my heart. I tilted my head, barely daring to breathe. My own heart was a frantic drum against my ribs. "Still your favorite?" I whispered back, my voice shakier than I wanted it to be. Her lips curved into a smile that made my chest tighten, a smile that was just for me. "Not really," she said, her eyes finding mine in the dim light. "I think I prefer the one happening right now." And before I could even process her words, before my brain could catch up with my heart, she turned her face toward me. The soft light from the screen danced across her features, painting her in shades of pale blue and rose. I saw her lashes tremble, a sign of the nervousness she was trying so hard to hide. Then her lips found mine. The kiss was hesitant at first, so gentle, like a secret finally escaping after being held captive for far too long. My heart, which was already racing, somehow found a new gear. My entire body felt like it was melting into the softness of her mouth. The taste of her chapstick vanilla, with a faint hint of salt from the popcorn we'd shared, was impossibly real, more vivid and present than anything the movie could ever project. This wasn't a movie kiss, polished and perfect, with the right lighting and a soaring soundtrack. It was messy, and trembling, and beautifully, perfectly human. And in that moment, it felt infinite. Like we had stepped outside of time, into a bubble that was just for the two of us. When she finally pulled back, her eyes were wide. I saw something in them I'd never seen before. Relief. A deep, profound relief, as if she had been holding her breath for years and had finally let it all out. "I didn't mean to," she started, her voice faltering, but I stopped her by gently pressing a finger to her lips. "Yes, you did," I whispered, a smile spreading across my face, one I couldn't have held back even if I tried. "And I'm so glad." The movie ended. Applause filled the room, a sudden burst of sound that felt like it belonged to another world. Neither of us clapped. The credits rolled, names and titles floating across the screen like ghosts of a story that was already over. But for us, time had just shifted. The real film, our film, had just begun. We walked out of the theater into the cool night air. The city was humming quietly around us, a gentle backdrop to the roaring in my ears. I could still feel the warmth of her hand in mine, our fingers interlaced and hidden between us like a precious, shared secret. The neon lights from the theater's marquee painted her face in soft pink and blue, just like the light from the screen had done moments before. It felt like our own personal spotlight, illuminating the start of something new. She looked at me, a nervous laugh bubbling up. "Do you think anyone saw?" she asked, her voice light. "Maybe," I said, squeezing her hand. "But let's hope they were too busy watching the screen." She smiled again, that kind of smile that lights up everything around it, that makes the whole world feel brighter. "Guess I finally found a movie worth rewatching." And as we walked away from the theater, hand in hand, her fingers brushed against mine again. This time, neither of us pulled back. There was no hesitation, no uncertainty, just a comfortable, solid connection. Later that night, when I got home, I lay in bed thinking about how many love stories I'd watched in my life. Hundreds of them, probably. On TV, in movies, in books. But none of them, not a single one, had ever felt as real, as powerful, as the one that began right beside me, in the dark, while the rest of the world looked the other way. Because sometimes, love doesn't announce itself with a grand orchestra or perfect lighting or a beautifully scripted line. Sometimes it just happens, quietly, honestly, in a shared moment of vulnerability. It happens while two people sit side by side, their hearts finally beating in sync. And they realize that what they were looking for all along was never on the screen at all. It was right there, right beside them. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more content like this. It means the world to me. See you next time.